The brand new Ren and Stimpy Reboot 2024 episodes of All Hell No and Squatters has been leaked on Internet Archive and elsewhere. I found this out through a Twitter friend, Spum Donor, also known as Cartoon Aesthetics on YouTube, and I decided to view the episode myself, considering that I wrote an article in defense of John K, and people were asking, or my friends were asking, what do you think about the new 21-minute episode? So I'm assure you that MTV has already taken down these two episodes, so it might be difficult to find them. Probably somebody has downloaded the file and now is sharing it through Telegram. I mean, again, I don't pay for streaming services. I don't even know what has happened in Clone High Season 2 or whatnot. It's just not my interest to pay that money every month to watch something that's so regurgitated and whatever. So again, I don't have no opinion or no interest to what to say to the reboot, but now I think I do after watching the first 20 minutes. So I want to get into that. So the new Ren and Stimpy Reboot has a new collage intro with brand new music. I think it's by Mike Noller, or I forget. I looked in the credits a bit, but it reminds me of like Doug TenNaples' Cat Scratch or something. Very G-rated music, not that like Man or Astroman surf rock intro. But yes, it looks the same, acts the same. I guess this is X-Men 97. You know, I guess everybody who now remembers Ren and Stimpy now are in their 40s or 50s. So I guess now that they have 10-year-old tween-age kids, they're just being Gen X boomers at home saying, wow, new episodes of Ren and Stimpy. I bet it's really crazy and messed up. Well, again, it's cashing in on nostalgia, just like how NES Classic and Super Nintendo Classic cashes in on that. So now we're in this age of AI manipulating forms and cloning them. So you would expect that, okay, if there's a Ren and Stimpy reboot and if it's a clone from 94, it would be the most anti-liberal, humanity, disgusting, kind of critical, deformed art ever. But actually, no, and there's a lot of problems with it. It seems like this is going to go through a Gamergate conversation. I didn't really cite that much on it because I think Cartoon Aesthetics / Spum Donor did a good job with some of that. Again, he could have written an article on it. It's not my motivation to write an article on this new episode, so that's why I'm recording myself now. But here I will nitpick a few things about All Hell No and Squatters. But first, with All Hell No, I like now that it's Ren and Stimpy in, meaning that it's kind of, you never really seen that in the title cards. So there's definitely that branding going on. I do miss the ideal that Ren and Stimpy are pseudo-gay, following the archetypes of husband and housewife, which they make reflection to. But I think things get a little weirder. I think Billy West still does Ren. But again, it's just like, you know, the voice actor is getting older. So there is some harshness in the voice, as you know, you can't make everything clone. Eventually what they're going to do in 10-20 years is just get AI, so then you can't notice that, and then we'll be really in some kind of weird prison. But the episode begins with, I guess, them going to hell over some weird kooky jokes, and then I guess Stimpy meets a gay black god, and then Ren meets an equivalent gay devil, and then there's just this kind of bizarre, strange humor about screenwriting, about my son going to art school, and a lot of dry comments. And again, yes, as Cartoon Aesthetics pointed out, it's really about people in LA talking about these things. Because I'll cut to the chase here. The whole staff writers are women. It's a part of the pink collar inflation. So why pink collar work? Well, I assume hopefully my listeners or anybody who knows me must know something about Marxism and dialectic materialism. No, I'm not making an argument where, we should think like quote unquote leftist, but this is an unavoidable reality to the American landscape. So the work is fake. Everything's fake. I know I'm taking a very David Graeber-esque view, but it's true. Cartoons are not made anymore. They're made by it's not even Micromedia Flash. It's like Adobe automated process where hand drawing is not the thing anymore. It was a really quick industry that died in about 50 years, almost a century. And so what is today, it's just, as Cartoon Aesthetics said, a writer's cartoon. In other words, a bunch of writers from privileged positions come in and they get a free paycheck to vent their feelings and then lash it out on everyone else. And that's how they can afford to live in Beverly Hills or fucking Santa Barbara. And so I think this is completely a reflection of how false work is. And so with pink collar inflation, it means that as there's this post-capitalist phase of capitalism creating a post-scarcity condition, they can't make work anymore. So they're going to have to tell the housewives or single ladies of the elite class to give them positions they don't want to do. They're certainly not going to build a bridge to Staten Island to Manhattan or do anything working class, as much as feminists would like to argue. They're just going to take the most coziest positions possible that you might as well give way to quote unquote incels or anyone in Ohio. But no, they just give it out to women, and then women in a very strange picnic on Hanging Rock faction start to write about themselves. And that's why I also think that the new Ren and Stimpy is very, very feminized. Again, it's not just a Blade Runner simulacrum pink girlfriend looking at you or some prison of selling nostalgia or a zombie. That's all true. It's like a zombie Simpson thing. But it's also my most important interest is a projection of the most feminized Ren and Stimpy possible. So for Erica, or the weird ugly lady in the Squatters episode, I think she was made because the Ren and Stimpy staff want other single ladies to reflect on there and want to become her. Because the cartoon kind of represents this subconscious projection of becoming something. You might have not liked Ren and Stimpy before because John K. was a date rapist or something like that. But now you'll definitely like Ren and Stimpy because you can relate to Erica and you relate to a gay black god and a gay devil and everything that feels way too feminized and bourgeois. And so the John K. aesthetic becomes a Hot Topic sub-brand or a Vice magazine Y2K e-girl outfit that you can put on. And that's how you resell Ren and Stimpy. But what you're doing is that target audience is mainly New York City, LA, maybe San Francisco or Chicago, but it's a few cosmos against the seething mass of everyone else in Cleveland and Kentucky. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and it's far from John Kay and his vision. And again, it's the equivalent of making Velma black. It just doesn't make sense. It's just, it kind of knows that work is fake and that these jobs were made up. And if these jobs were made up, then you and I can have the same position and take over Ren and Stimpy and make it better. But that's not allowed because I guess everybody's in the gig economy, quote unquote, and they're just doing a job. And it was the job listing just happened to be on Craigslist, guys. It doesn't work like that, but it's projected, and Ren and Stimpy should be a reflection of how broken the capitalist state is. There's also a lot of messages, Malthusian messages about degrowth, depopulation, and kind of through the archetype of Erica telling its female audiences it's okay to have sex with a bunch of sailor men and do nothing and not get married because you're enjoying life and this is you and you're a part of an entire generational subculture about it, and therefore Ren and Stimpy is that feel-good projection. Enjoy being in the pods, eating the bugs, being a dink, dual income, no kids, and enjoy the Malthusian state. And that's how they're feminizing Ren and Stimpy, and it works that subconsciously. Again, it's kind of like things get weird at that point because it's just so far off from how we can look at art versus the writers, quote unquote, are just doing it for profit. Now, I'm not saying writer cartoons are bad. You know, that's kind of a majority of comics. A majority of comics are a writer and then here's Sam Kife does the art, whatever. And that works. And it kind of can work in cartoons as well. But the problem is that entire demographic of that Politburo of writers, quote unquote, they're more like rom-com writers. I think they would excel in mediums like Star versus the Force of Evil or Molly McGee and the Ghost or Infinity Train or whatever, or OKKO, because these were, in my words, in my expression forms, romantic comedy, Fabio fall in love with a guy influenced by Japanese animation, and you're trying to project it in the platonic ideal of the human soul having higher value than just, it must mean something. And so that's where writers excel in. But they don't excel into a medium like Ren and Stimpy intended for John Kay's strange trauma projection show. And I think, again, an all-female staff in that pink collar inflation would be better writing episodes for Star or Molly McGee, because then they could express their female sexuality and hypergamy in the text, and then the very smart Woody Allen types can look through it. That's the problem with a lot of those LA writers, is that they think like Woody Allen and they think in rom-com, and that's all good and whatever, but it's just a mismatch. And if you make every single cartoon like, say, Bluey, intended for kids, and then you say, oh, it's actually for adults. Actually, there's this complicated, sophisticated relationship with this Tinder girlfriend dog. Again, that seems to be self-defeating, because that means nobody watches cartoons, not even the kids, and it's adults masturbating about their own medium and having a repressed desire to become it. I think there was the Powerpuff Girls reboot, and there was a guy who like self-inserted him in the cartoon, because again, this is how lonely they want to become the cartoon, which I think is a repressed sexuality, which is a repressed romantic comedy urge. And so these writers are good at romantic comedy and romance, but in these mediums, they're really just talking about themselves, and we're watching a bunch of smug elites and David Graver bullshit jobs of no profit whatever, talking about themselves. I think I'll end it there because I want to keep this short. I think, again, cartoon aesthetic, he said everything. And I just really want to point out that Erica of trying to market this new character is really meant for like goth women in Philadelphia that don't have children and they just have sleep with a bunch of men. And that's a part of the Malthusian plan to depopulate. And within the messaging in Ren and Stimpy, I could just watch it and turn the sound off and watch things that look like the adult party show on wallpaper. But unfortunately, as they may say, its quote unquote contents, its value is about something totally else for like Clown World or something. And at this point, it just goes back to the whole Gamergate, Velma, Thundercats, whatever. And it's just like a big, we all know. And I think the people who do work don't even buy their own shit. I think they're doing it because they're just profit hungry and they're Machiavellian. But I don't even think that. I think it's just a big nepotistic game. I'm in, you're out. And because we're in, we hate everyone else. It's just a current state of the American political landscape. Again, I think it's just a giant revenge statement by Robin Bird to go against John Kay, is to devalue certain anti-liberal thoughts by creating a pro-liberal message. And again, I feel it's unfortunate because, as I've written before, Ren and Stimpy is pretty much the most industrial musical ideal concept. And though it is a byproduct of the 90s, it's not, it's for adults, that's like a silly fallacy they'll put onto there. I think kids and adults should enjoy both. And if kids want to watch gay black gods and homeless slutty women, go ahead. But whatever that means, I don't know. I think they would be better off listening to industrial music or something. This is Pill Eater, and I record this on May the 6th, 2024.